Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Know Your Shit podcast, where our knowledge and pride in what we do drives us in the pursuit of excellence. Once again, you're stuck with me, Josh Cadillac, in the driver's seat for today's show as we learn how to stop chasing paychecks and learn to start building a business we can be proud of as part of life that we can be proud of. We have a great show for you today because we have a great guest, and Mr. Ted Santos. Ted, thanks so much for being with us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me, and I look forward to the conversation.
Absolutely. So, Ted, why don't you tell everybody what it is you do?
Sure. I'm in the business of producing miracles. CEOs hire me when they're looking to create a breakthrough, and they are not sure how to do it with existing resources. So I work with them to create disruptive strategies that transform into disruptive technology and or allows them to penetrate untapped markets. And then I work with them to transform corporate culture to ensure the culture doesn't sabotage that breakthrough initiative. So
Okay.
you could say that's my day job.
All right. What got you started doing that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What got you started doing that?
Sure, sure. So, well, I've run a number of businesses as a chief operating officer, and those businesses were on the opposite end of the spectrum. The first one was growing so fast that it was an absolute chaos because the organization couldn't manage it. And I was able to stabilize it, transform the culture, and actually increase the growth rate. So I saw how in chaos that you can leverage chaos to grow an organization. And the other company was 3 years of declining revenues. I turned it around in 9 months. We had 69% increase in revenue. And then we were chaotic because we were growing too fast, but able to stabilize it. And in both cases, I was really good at coaching people up, having people be more effective and working in the face of chaos. And when they stabilized and they were able to, I call it, become a self-contained team, they didn't need me. In a way, I was making myself obsolete. So I saw chaos as a way to pull the best out of people and make myself obsolete so then I can start looking at the future of the organization and what are the products and services, what are the things customers will need that we are not providing today.
Love it. So, what do you like best about what you do, Ted?
I get to be like a professional troublemaker. So people think they're hiring me to come in and solve problems. Really, I'm coming in to create problems. So
All right.
that requires you to think in a way that the masses don't think. And I really that has probably, I could say that's been who I've been since a child. People would say, "Why do you always have to think differently? Why do you dress differently?" So I've always been that guy. Not that I was an oddball. I mean, I was a great athlete, but I just looked at the world a little differently. So my current job allows me to look at the world differently and leave people empowered to do things that they ordinarily wouldn't do. And sometimes people struggle a little bit when they first hear or they're going through the methodology. Uh, but it really gives me an opportunity to spread my wings and be the guy that I am.
Nice. So, that's the good part, Ted. We're always talking to our entrepreneurs here. There's
Sure.
for every good side, there's always a bad side. What's the toughest part of what you do?
That it doesn't make sense, and I'm saying things that don't make sense. It goes against conventional wisdom, and sometimes people drag their feet. They can have resistance. So that's the other side of it is the
Yeah, being
resistance,
a
or it's not common
counterintuitive
sense.
solution. Yeah, yeah,
Right?
being a
Exactly.
counterintuitive
Exactly.
solution. Yeah, yeah, it's a problem. So, I gotta
And
ask you
that's
this. God,
interesting
I'm sorry.
because I, I was going to say, I used to do CEO roundtables, and I invited sitting CEOs of companies with revenues between 100 million and a billion, and then I brought in former CEOs of Fortune 500s, and I had some heavy hitters, former CEOs of Chase Bank, Dun and Bradstreet, Harris Hotel and Casinos, Xerox, and so forth. And I would sometimes have interns support me. And on this one occasion, I had two interns and they were both taking an advanced economics class, and they were listening to a gentleman, to a retired CEO who was at that time that he was the chairman of the New York Stock Exchange, former CEO of State Street Bank, and another gentleman who was sitting CEO of a $1 billion company. And they were talking about a kind of financing. And when the roundtable discussion was over, both the interns came up and said, "Hey, this week we've been studying exactly what they were talking about, and our book tells us to do the exact opposite of what they are doing in the real world." So sometimes what we learn in books isn't always what's happening in what you'll call the real world. So it can initially can seem counterintuitive until you actually see it work. And for my interns, it was great for them to see people at the very top of the food chain talking about a subject that they thought they were learning very well, only to discover that what's happening in the real world is opposite of what's in the book.
So what you mean to say is the academic approach might be the exact opposite of works in the real world? I have never
Well,
heard that before. You were much kinder than I'm going to be. Yeah, no, I find that is there's a reason why not all but many academics are academics, and yeah,
sure. The
often there's a
armchair.
disconnect. Yeah,
Right,
yeah, Monday
right.
morning armchair quarterback.
Right. Oh gosh. That, and in my work, I use that often, that there's a perspective in the stands, like a Monday morning quarterback, and that person has all the answers and they can tell you everything. The guy did this and he's got all these explanations. But if you put that armchair Monday morning quarterback on the field, he produces nothing.
Absolutely nothing. He's a big old negative vacuum black hole of everything. No, it's totally a thing. I want to get to this because this is called the Know Your Shit podcast, and so
Right.
I like to not pull any punches. What would you say, Ted, is the shit you know that makes you good at what you do?
What do I know that makes me good? um, well, my first response would be I know to question what's in front of me, as opposed
Okay,
to just accepting everything as it is what it is.
all right. That's there's value to
And
that.
that
I agree.
and that allows me to ask questions that no one is thinking about. So do you mind if I share a story about a
By all means, go ahead.
client? Sure. So I had a client. He was early 40s, Wharton MBA, really smart guy, also an athlete. So he had this kind of aggressive demeanor, very ambitious. He used to work for one of the biggest brokerage houses, working in M&A. So accomplished guy who one day decided to go out on his own. He was able to get financing, and he started doing a roll up. So smart guy, accomplished already, and he and I met, and I'm working with him. And in the first year, we started in February, and now here we are in December. And he tells me this story. He said, "When I hired you, I thought you were going to be this expert consultant who was going to confirm everything I knew." And he said, "I'd come to you with my problems, and instead of you giving me solutions, you start asking me these effing questions that were annoying the hell out of me because he said, I'm paying this guy to give me answers to my problems, and he won't give me an answer. He asks questions and makes me figure it out myself. Why am I paying?" And, he pays me a monthly retainer. And he said, once a month, he's coming saying, "Why am I giving this guy a check? He doesn't do a damn thing except ask me questions." And then he said one day it hit him. Oh my God, this man is asking me questions that I'm not asking myself. No one in the company is asking these questions. And it's helping me see my business from another perspective, and create solutions that I would have never done. In fact, I'm getting to the source of
Yep.
things. So he said, he said, I was prepared to have a speech for you for the month of December and say, Ted, it was great working with you. You confirmed what I knew. Nice knowing you. We're going to sever our ties. Goodbye. And he said, there's no way I can say that because you opened my mind to things that I didn't even know were out there. He said,
I didn't even
so
know
today
exists.
I have a problem. He said, today I know you're going to ask me a ton of questions, so let's get it on. Here's my problem. Ask the question. So it's if that can be very counterintuitive for people looking for the answer, and our entire education system is about giving the right answer as opposed to understanding questions so that you can better understand what's occurring.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So I got to ask, Ted, every entrepreneur that I've ever had on always has the story, the rock bottom moment, the moment in their career where it's just as bad as it's got, like something's got to change. Where was that rock bottom moment for you?
uh, right at that around 9/11. So I had a different company. I had a company that did what I call cultural consulting and translations of foreign languages. And when 9/11 happened, I had just started my company in April, and then September, bang, and business came like to a screeching halt. I thought I made the wrong decision. I should have, instead of going out on my own, I should have probably gotten a job. This is all falling apart. And yeah, I thought it was just going to be the end of the line for me. And I wasn't sure how to get out of it.
It's amazing because the visual evidence would seem to confirm that you somehow figured it out.
I ended up selling the company. Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah,
But
but at the
I
end of the
thought
day,
I put
you're
myself in
still
a
here.
really bad. Yes. Well, and well, the other part to that is um, I had saved up enough money to leave the country again, and this time I could have easily traveled for 5 years. And instead of leaving, going abroad, I started a business. So I had exhausted too much money that I couldn't just take off. So it was, I thought I made a bad decision.
And yet somehow you still made it to the point where we're having this conversation today, and that's an important idea about rock bottom.
Absolutely.
It's a step on the way to wherever you're going to wind up. Um,
Right.
what would you say, Ted? In I think we've probably talked about it, but I want to give you a chance to answer the question. What would you say in your makeup makes you good at what you do? What is it about the way you came wired from the factory, like in your natural way of being or how you developed, that's made you what you are?
Well, I would say I was never wired from the factory. I would say no one is. That's one of these things that we believe. But what I can tell you was that, have you ever read Malcolm Gladwell's book David and Goliath? You know how the book is all about how supposed misfortunes can actually turn to your advantage, and how David was smaller than Goliath, and the fact he was smaller, that was a disadvantage, and because of that disadvantage, he had to create a weapon that allowed him to defeat Goliath. So I had some seeming misfortunes that developed me. And the first one, I was 6 years old, and in a car accident, my mother was driving, and she fell asleep and crashed into a tree about 100 meters from home. And I was just tall enough to look over the dashboard, and I watched her run home. So myself and my two younger siblings were sitting next to me. We were in the front seat. And later, I learned at the hospital my mother had two broken legs. So my mind was like, I saw her run. She didn't limp, she didn't crawl. She just ran home to get my father, and he and his cousin came, took us out of the car, went to the hospital. But from there, all I could think was human beings have something inside of them that comes out in extreme circumstances. So how do you gain access to that? So that
Yeah.
shaped me in a big way. So listen, I'm 5'6", 143. I was dunking basketballs. I was the starting defensive nose guard who put fullbacks out, running backs. We're talking 6'4", 225, 6'1", 230. I put these guys out the game squealing like pigs. So I was looking for that running with broken legs. So I trained with that mindset. Second incident occurred when I was 21, and I lost both parents in one day. And I'm the oldest of four, and so my brother's 19 and my sisters are 12 and 16. And so I take over the family, but I still have this mindset of running with broken legs. But now I need to transfer it to my siblings so that we can accomplish things in a situation for which none of us is familiar. Like we had no experience with, you know, how many people are ready for their parents to die, when their parents are 43
It's
and still
brutal.
young? So how do you navigate that and take over the family? So those are the things that I took with me throughout my entire life. So when I ran businesses, I understood that it's possible to navigate chaos, not only possible to navigate it, it's possible to intentionally create problems and empower people and pull more out of them than they know how to pull out of themselves.
Mm. No, it's totally a true thing. I mean, we are capable of a lot more than we think we are, and how do we get that out is a great question. So,
Right.
I want to ask you this, Ted. Based upon that, I mean, that's something I think a lot about. It's something that I talk a lot about on here, and I talk about how you deal with disappointment and setbacks. So I want to ask you, how do you deal with that as an entrepreneur? We're always facing disappointments and setbacks. We're always, close to getting something, and then it goes to the other people that are bidding on it or something. How do you manage yourself to stay motivated and driven when things go against you?
Well, for one, I never look for motivation. So the motor of a human being is is always going to be the thoughts or the conversations that you have with yourself. So it's really about managing that. So in life, things happen. Sometimes you get exactly what you want, and sometimes it goes against what your commitments. And so how you manage yourself and the thoughts that you have is what determines uh, how effective you will be. So when those disappointments occur, those are learning opportunities. What did I miss? Where were the gaps? um, there is did I do something wrong? But ultimately, if I focus on something's wrong with me, or I did something wrong, or those people don't like me, so then I miss out on the opportunity to develop myself to make sure I'm able to be on point for the next opportunity, because things
Mhm.
happen.
Yes, they
So
do.
how do you stay focused on your commitments without getting derailed by something that we label as a disappointment, a failure? Like that can become like a broken record where the record just gets stuck and keeps playing in the same place and you never move the needle. So it's managing the conversations that tell you something's wrong with you. I mean, that's critical, because what we inherit as human beings is we're not perfect. We have issues. Something's wrong with us. And when we have disappointments, that becomes proof that there's something wrong. And we generally do not have the tools to be able to navigate and manage those situations.
Understood. So I want to ask you a macro question, sort of a 30,000-foot view on life question, Ted. Uh, and this is one of those questions that probably throughout the course of life has changed the answer, but it is a
Mhm.
very important question. What does
Okay.
success look like for you? How would you define what success looks like for you?
Living life on your own terms.
Okay, it's a good answer. Uh, I need to ask, Ted. I know that you have a program out there that you've developed to try to help people. Who is it for? Tell us about it. How does it help? Who is the person, the ideal person that uh, should be part of that, should be taking advantage of your program?
Sure. So I have two partners. They are technically savvy guys, and together we built an app. It's really web based, so there's nothing to download, and it's called Career Fit. And Career Fit is an acronym: competence, accountability, relationships, exposure, engagement. These are, and so those that acronym is for 9 pillars, and those are the 9 pillars that create a very successful career. So we were looking at a couple of things. Since I do executive coaching, can we create something that serves as an executive coach that's infinitely scalable and available 24/7? And that's what Career Fit does. So Career Fit gives a person an opportunity to self assess so that they can see realistically where they are and how they are progressing in their career. What are the actions that they are consistently taking on and you can measure that on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and look at that over the course of a year and grade yourself and see where you're strong, where you're weak. And so it gives you a score as a GPA. And then it provides a GPS in the sense that it provides guidance through the questions it asks. And also, we have an AI component to it that really helps a person uh, better understand how to make the developments they like in the areas where they are weak, or even if you're dealing with a conflict at work and how to best navigate the conflict. So Career Fit is an excellent tool to help a person who wants to move up the corporate ladder and be able to not only do well in their career, but to actually have the fulfillment and enjoyment of their career as opposed to feeling they're just going to work to make another dollar for another day.
Love it. Love it. I know that there's a lot of people out there that could use that. Um, Ted, I only have one question left for you today. It's a little bit of a shorter version of this because of time constraints. But if folks are interested, they want to know more about this, they want to hear more about what you're doing and take part in this, where can folks find you?
So if they want to have access to Career Fit, the URL is careergpascore.com. That's careergpascore.com. If you'd like to know more about me, my website is turnaroundip.com, and IP is like intellectual property. You can also find me on YouTube and LinkedIn. I have many articles that I post, and YouTube, you'll see quite a few interviews and videos I've done on transforming corporate culture and leadership transformation.
Awesome. Well, Ted, thank you so much, man. It was really great getting a chance to know you and chat. I really enjoyed having you on.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you. Great questions. Thank you.
My pleasure. And I want to thank our listeners, guys. It's always great having you here. We know you could spend your time anywhere. Thank you for spending it with us. As I remind you every time, there is never a good excuse not to know your shit. Till next time.